What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button. Smack it. Later, smack down on like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up. And a message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Punchy.tv. So you can watch on any of those platforms. And while you're watching, you can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we can get into that talk. We can get into that stuff. So make sure you guys call in. And if for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV, or go directly to the YouTube live chat, hit the super chat button, send your question or comments in, and I'll read them live on air. All right? All right. Also, what's today? Today's Monday. You guys know every day we do weekly themed episodes. Every day is something different. And today happens to be Grace and Mercy Mondays. What is that? That's what we talk about, all things faith and spirituality based. You know what I mean? Spiritual. It's all spiritual. Everything is spiritual. And today, on Mondays, is where we really break that stuff down. Okay? So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. But first things first, I got some news. I got to give you guys some news. A little news. Started off. You know what I'm saying? Just a little news. As you guys know, Mr. Pope Francis is no longer with us. Mr. Pope Francis, no longer here. He gone. Pope Francis was the Pope, and the Pope for a very long time. And I was curious. I was like, why did they need a Pope wherever he's from? The Catholics. Why the Catholics need a Pope? Why do the people need a Pope? Why do they need to have a Pope over them to find God or to overcome? Why they need it? So I looked it up to see what the Pope thing means. But before we do that, I just first want to say rest in peace to the Pope Francis. He is no longer here on the earth. I didn't really know nothing about him. Didn't really do my research as far as in previously. And but still, he's well known. I don't know his lifestyle. I don't know what he was into. I don't know none of that stuff. So I ain't gonna sit up here and try to praise him as if he was just this holy man. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm not sure because I'm not very familiar. But I wish him well. And I guess rest in peace. But with that being said, it sparked a little bit of what I wanted to get into today. So let me go back to me. Is I looked up what the purpose of a pope was. Why do we have a pope? And this is from the Britannica. Doctrinally, in Catholic churches, the Pope is regarded as the successor of St. Peter, who was head of the apostles. You guys remember Peter? The Pope, as Bishop of Rome, is thus seen to have full and supreme power of jurisdiction over the universal church in matters of faith and morals, as well as in church discipline and government, right? So basically the Pope, according to the Britannica, is just given authority over all people. He's known to have the final say, right? He's known to be the all-knowing, the all-wise, right? And the reason why I don't see anything wrong with the Pope is that he's no different. He's just on a mass scale. He's no different than like a pastor to a church, like a husband to a wife, right? Somebody that you can lean on when you need it, if you need it. And I don't see anything wrong with it. But I'm gonna tell you what is improper though, which kind of shapes my message today. I want to tell you guys what is improper. Blindly trusting people. Blindly trusting people. That is what is improper. Because it's nothing wrong with having somebody that you can look up to or somebody that you know is to be wise and you ask their advice, but you shouldn't take what they give you and run, right? You shouldn't just trust that what they're telling you is right. You know what I mean? You should be able to hear what is being said from them and it be able to ring true to you. And you need to know how to recognize that from within, right? So now it's just fellowship. Now it's not you blindly following or trusting anybody. It's more just edifying, right? So what I think is improper is we got to get rid of the middleman, okay? We got to get rid of the middleman. That means you don't blind trust anybody. The pastor, Joel Friday TV, Jesse Lee Peterson. You don't blind trust nobody. You don't blind follow nobody. Get rid of the middleman. And that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to tell you why that is so important. Okay? It's because when you blindly trust, the devil will use people, anybody, in their weakness to deceive you when you're blindly following them. The devil will use people that maybe you respect or you trust or you look up to or who inspire you, who are wise. The devil will use their weakness to deceive you if you blind trust them. Okay? Also, the devil will make you turn on them when they don't do what you expect them to do. You know? You got to know this stuff for yourself. And I'm going to explain how in a second here. But the devil also, he uses people, and the devil also uses thoughts. Right? He'll use the mind. And if you are just blind trusting, if you don't know yourself, if you don't know these things, then he'll deceive you. And what happens is when you blind follow people as well, people make you doubt yourself. People make you judge yourself, right? Because the devil's at work in everybody's weakness. If he can get in there, he's gonna get in there, right? If he can find your little weak spots, your human side, he's gonna get in there and he's gonna use it. That's just his game. That's what he does. And it's inevitable. He's going to do it. The only defense we have is overcoming and being able to recognize him. But even in that, we are not to blindly trust anybody. And what is so important, and what I really want to get into, is that how to remove the middleman. You know what I mean? Because that's nice to say. You know, it's nice to say, like, I don't need anybody to lean on to. That's hard. That's easy to say, right? But oftentimes, especially as we're overcoming, we're lost, right? We're confused. We don't know what is right or what is wrong. Well, nobody knows what is right or what is wrong. But we don't know what is left, what is right. We don't know where we're going. We're confused. Right? We got a little bit of trauma or maybe a lot of trauma. We're lost in our mind. So it's nice when you have somebody that tell you what to do, right? It's nice when somebody tell you, look, hey, you're going this way, go that way, right? That's nice, right? But then you go that way and it could most of the time maybe be beneficial for you. But it also maybe not. And you want to know that for yourself. And I say that to say because I remember, and you guys can let me know if you guys relate. I remember when I used to feel like, in my adult years, I used to feel like a little boy, right? On the outside, I looked like an adult, right? I looked like a man, like a grown man, I guess, because I was grown. But I used to feel like a boy inside, you know what I mean? And like, I used to also, when I was around people, I would feel uncomfortable because I would start to act like them just to be accepted by them. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? Like I remember, I remember this one time there was this black guy that came to church. When I first came to Bond, there was this black guy that came to this church. Black, grew up in the black community. And I had seen him one time like at the store, like Food for Less or something. I don't know if you guys all have Food for Less, but we got Food for Less out here in California. And I seen him, and then we stopped and we started talking, but he's like real black, and I didn't grow up in a black community, so I don't like, I don't know all the terms and the slang and all that stuff, right? But at the time, like, he was talking, and I found myself trying to like sound like him. You know what I mean? Like talk like him. Like I was also from the hood or something. And I was doing it because I wanted to connect. You know what I mean? And like I wanted him to accept me in a weird way, even though like at face value, I wasn't thinking like, oh, please accept me. But like deep down, it's like I just wanted to connect with this person for no specific reason. Like he's just this random guy that I met at church and I ended up seeing him, right? But like I wanted to connect, and when I didn't connect, I felt like it was all like it's something wrong with me. So I started acting out when I would get around people. And I realized that, at the time I didn't know. I was just lost, right? And I thought that like, oh, okay, I should do this or I should do that or whatever. I didn't really know that I was just trying to seek acceptance. But then I remember one day, honestly, and this was years ago, I remember one day I wasn't working at Bond at the time. I was at Bond and I had left and I had went somewhere else and I was working somewhere else. And when I was there, I remember like in an instant, out of nowhere, I'm not making this up, you guys. I'm telling you guys a story where it has happened. You guys let me know what you think. In an instant, literally, God revealed to me my true identity. He showed me my true identity. And ever since then, I went about life totally different. But let me explain what that means, though, because I don't want it to be taken out of context, okay? First, let me explain what that is when he revealed my true identity to me, it took my doubt of myself away. You know, like when you get in conversations and you kind of start doubting yourself, or like you like I say, you act out, and because you want to be like, that was gone, right? Because I saw my true intention. I saw my true nature, right? I saw like what it's supposed to be. And I no longer judged myself either. I no longer judge myself. And also because I understand it, I understand myself now. And God revealed this. It wasn't like I put the work in to get this. God revealed this. And also he took the depression, right? I had no depression. And that's because I know that the things that are happening in my life aren't me, but that doesn't mean perfection. And this is where it's important that I make this distinction. Okay? It's important that I make this distinction. Is that when God revealed the true identity, that doesn't mean now perfection. It doesn't mean perfect peace at all times. It doesn't mean none of that stuff. There's still challenges, there's still temptations, and there's still mistakes. Except now, this is the crazy thing, except now, knowing my true identity, I know that those things are not me, right? I know that those things that may tempt me, or the mistakes that I may make, or this and this and that, is not me. So I don't judge myself for it, right? I don't judge myself for it. And it doesn't mean I don't take accountability, because let's be real. A lot of the things that we do, we want to do them, right? We want to do them. So it ain't no victimhood, playing a victimhood card, pull the victimhood card. No. Like, take full responsibility for your actions, because you're a grown adult and you know the things that you do is because you have a desire for them. But I'm just saying that I know that those things aren't me. And because of that, it takes that conflict away that keeps you believing you're a bad person, that makes you believe that you're not worth nothing, that makes you feel depressed, that makes you feel like a deadbeat, even though you don't have children. But you get the point. I took that away, because the true identity is what we are, but God has to reveal it. And I'm going to get to, I see some people calling in there. You can call in, we can get into it. But I just want you guys to know this. I just want you guys to know this. Okay? Like, for a long time, I'll just put it simply, is God has to reveal that to us. God has to reveal that to you. He has to reveal what that looks like. There's not no amount of work anybody can do to earn that. It has to be revealed when God wants to do it. But I'm going to tell you what helped. I'm going to tell you how I found that, though. I'm going to tell you how I found that. I found that by being out in the world. Not lying. This is how I found it. I found that by being out in the world. I was out in the world. That's what, when the Bible says to not be in the world, to be in the world, but not be of the world, right? Like the title, thumbnail, right? That's so true. And I discovered this by being in the world. Why? Because when you're in the world, you start to realize what you like and what you don't like. You start to realize what is real and what is fake, because you're constantly being challenged, constantly being this and that, constantly being tempted, constantly being around these different things. And what do those things do? They make you stronger. Now, I'm not saying now going to the strip club and try to sit in there in the middle and say, I'm going to get stronger by doing this. I ain't saying that, right? Let your worldly interactions be natural, right? You got to go to the pumpkin patch because your whole family's at the pumpkin patch, they invited you or something. Whatever. Make your interactions be natural. But that's where I learned a lot about myself, was being out in the world. You can't hide. You can't avoid people. You can't prevent yourself from being naked. Because it's just life. And through all of that is when God kind of revealed the true identity. And like I'm telling you guys, it ain't perfection. So I don't want you guys up here thinking like, Lord Joel think he perfect. Nuh-uh. Zero that. And Caroline tell you, there ain't no perfection over here. But what it did was set me so much more freer. It made me think for myself. It made me know for myself. It made me recognize God's voice. It made me stress less. It made me not doubt myself. It made me no longer judge myself. It made me no longer question myself. And then you walk, you're more relaxed, you're more at ease. And you can walk as yourself and confidently as yourself. You could be yourself. And that's the greatest gift thus far that God has given me, is revealing my true identity. The greatest gift. So I say that to say, I'm going to get to some calls, that you don't need nobody above you It's nice to have a mentor. It's nice to have someone you respect. Nothing wrong with that at all. But you don't need to be blindly just taking people's advice and just riding on their wings. You don't need to do that. And you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that. Get to know yourself. Get to know God. And just live life. Just live life. Enjoy life. And even not enjoy life. Just be in life anyway. Enjoy it and not enjoy it. And then you start to see you don't need not one person, and you appreciate fellowship. You appreciate people who are wise because they sharpen you, or you guys have good fellowship. You appreciate those people, but you don't need those people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I had to say about that. Let me get to some calls here. 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. Let me know what you guys think. You guys agree? You guys disagree? You think I'm lying? Let me know what you guys think. Let me go to Aaron out of Minnesota. Aaron, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
I'm from Maryland.
Maryland. My bad, Aaron. My bad.
What's up, man? How are you?
All is well, Aaron. How's it going?
Good. I was listening to you earlier, and you hit it spot on with that. Every time I hang out with someone or talk to them, or even if I like them, I end up sounding like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird. And then either I notice it first or somebody will be like, yo, you sound like this guy. And I'm like, I do sound like this guy. Why do I sound like this guy? You know, I'm not even trying to do it, but it just has always happened. Even recently, it still happens. And so I was going to ask you what you thought about this. I've entered into like this, I guess this phase or whatever in my life where I wanted to cut a lot of things back. I've lost a lot of interest in a lot of things, and as it stands right now, I've found it seems like clear to me that all I want to do is, you know, go to work, maybe get groceries, work out, and then spend a lot of quiet time on my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that like hiding from the world, like you were mentioning? Because I don't want to do that either. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily, because you want to be able to be okay with being, you know, alone. I'm very comfortable. I mean, I'm very comfortable by myself and at home as well. And you should be comfortable with being by yourself. There's nothing wrong with being by yourself at all. There's a time to be by yourself. But the point is, I think that you just don't want to be afraid to go outside, right? You don't want to like hate people.
No, I'm not afraid.
You don't want to hate the world because of like the way they are. You know what I mean? And that also, you know what I mean? And that also doesn't mean now go just try to like fabricate situations so that way you're out in the world. No, it's like there's plenty of opportunities to be out in the world when they come up, right? And just take those opportunities and just learn. You know what I mean? Just be present, and then life will kind of unfold in that way. But nothing wrong with staying home and watching a movie or two, watching a show, getting some groceries, working out. No, all those things are great.
Not even watching a show. It's just being quiet. It's too much. Everything so far. Everything in my life has been revealed now. It's just all distraction. Everything. Yeah. Like everything I've been doing is I just watch this to do that. Even right now, as I'm talking to you, I was just chilling and getting ready to go out, but I have this like stupid idle game. You know what I mean? Time passes, and then the game it's like so dumb. But
idle game? What is that?
Yeah, it's called Cookie Clicker. If you ever played it.
Oh, like it's like a video game.
Yeah, it's like a video game, but it runs on its own. You just gotta wait for it. It's so stupid. But it's like I guess like one of the last things to go, but. Most of the time, I'd be playing video games, and then I plan something with my friends, and then I go. It's like the whole day is jam packed with things to do, and then now it's like it's weird because I like going outside, and I like hanging out with people and doing things with people and
Yeah.
interacting with people too much. I
Oh,
realize
I see. I see.
it's just too much,
I see what you're
and
saying.
it's like now is a time where I don't even. It's so bad that even my mind is like trying to get me to think about, well, when's the next time we're going to hang out? But let's do a time limit, let's do it
Yeah.
for like 2 weeks. Let's do it for 4 weeks. But I realize that part has to die. And the only way it's going to die is if I just stop and just be by myself
You know what?
until it's gone.
You
You know
know,
what I mean?
you're making great points, Aaron. You know what I think it really comes down to is that both are good. Both are great, actually. Both are necessary. Is that there should be a little bit of balance of being still, being in quietness, being by yourself, being alone, and also
Yeah.
being out and about. You shouldn't have too much of either or. So I think that's
Mhm.
a better way to put it because yeah, you may be too much in the world and you're lost in the sauce, right? And you need to recharge and get and be still and understand, self, but also you could be so secluded from life and so by yourself and you create this comfort zone that you don't get out in the world to also live life. I think both can be necessary,
Yeah.
you know?
But you don't think I'm like, it makes sense, right? For some time to take some time away and rebuild that up to where it's a healthy balance. You know what I mean?
Rebuild what
Like,
up?
well, I want to strip it down to just necessities. Like whenever I'm stepping out or going to do things, it's because I have, I got to go. Okay, I got to do laundry, or I
Yeah.
got to go do this, or I got to do that.
Yeah.
And then if those interactions happen along the way, like, oh, I talked to this person, that's nice, or I see
Yeah.
this, that's nice. I'm not trying to reject it, but slowly build back up to where it's a reasonable middle ground where I'm all right. Let's go out. This somebody invited me for this thing. Let's check that out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And you'll know when you should just go out, right? You'll know
Yeah.
when like you're just trying to be, hide from the world or you just don't, you'll know the difference and just go out there and see. And doesn't mean that you necessarily like it. Doesn't mean that you're gonna learn or have this big major revelation when you go out either. You may realize like, oh, well, I didn't need to necessarily go to this one. But the point is just not denying every opportunity and not trying to avoid the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm trying to find that balance now.
Yeah.
But I like the world too much. If anybody invites me, I'm like, yeah. And then
Oh, I
I say
see.
yeah before I even like sometimes I get invited to formal events and I'll just say yeah, and then I realize I got to buy a whole bunch of stuff for it. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
snap! I'm like, oh dang, I got to wear a suit. I don't even have things to go to the thing,
Yeah.
but I'll go out my way to get it just so
Yeah.
I can, because I like hanging out with people, man. I love it. I love hanging out with people.
Well, see, then maybe
Too much.
see that maybe you're just on the opposite end, right? For me, it was like more introvert, right? For me, it was growing up being more introverted to the world and secluded, kind of in my own little bubble. And then, and maybe for you, you're more outgoing, you're more sociable, but maybe too sociable, and now you need to come back to the middle. So it's really about finding that middle ground where you have
Yeah.
silence, but you also have interactions, and they both, to me, are equally as valuable.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but you'll
It's just
find,
new to me. It's
yeah,
new to me to just be like, let me stay inside. It's so weird.
yeah, but you'll find
It's
it though,
like,
man. You'll find it because you're seeking it, and you're being aware of yourself, and it'll become clear because you're paying attention, and you'll eventually, yeah, you might stumble a little bit trying to figure it out, but you'll get your balance, and it'll start just being clear.
okay. And that's what you're talking about when you were saying that your real self was revealed. You found that place.
Right. And it
Right.
was just right. And it was just because I was just living my life, right? And I didn't even think that I needed to know this. I wasn't like thinking like, oh God, please show me myself. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just I was just out and about just living my life and doing my at work and at this thing or at home when I need to be and then just kind of living my life and then it was revealed then and then you feel comfortable. So you just keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're on track and you're doing what you can and
Cool.
yeah, it'll just open up, man.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Right on, Aaron. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I
Yeah.
believe I talked to you before, maybe a few times,
Yeah,
huh?
I was thinking about that the other day. I realized with the prenuptial thing, I realized that it was just another thing for me to fixate on. It's like my stance on that was that you should get a prenup.
Yeah.
And then I realized I've been doing in my quiet time, been doing a lot of reading of the Bible and then a lot of silent prayer. And then I realized it's like none of that matters.
Yeah.
Like any of the stuff that you try to do is not going to matter if it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Someone actually in the chat said something the other day that was real deep. I think it was Mark Stafford. Shout out to him. He was saying he said whatever God wants for you, you can't even stop it.
Exactly.
And that like hit me. I was like, dang, that it hit me two ways because I still have, I guess my ego's dying, and my ego responded to that with like, God's gonna force it on me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and then the other part of me was just like, it felt safe. It was like, oh, it's gonna happen no matter. I don't have to worry.
Exactly.
So it was like a real double-minded moment for me.
All that stuff is control. All that stuff is control, trying to control life and all those different things. It's like we're supposed to allow life to happen. And I'm not saying if somebody wants to get a prenup, do you type of thing, right? But I think Mark hit it. Shout out to Mark. I think Mark hit it right on hit the nail right on the head. Is that leave it in God's hands. You know what I mean? Trust God in the process. If you're really seeking what is right, if you're really hoping to be in something that will last till death do you part, let that be that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So fair enough, Aaron. I appreciate it, man. And good call.
Thanks.
Call me again.
All right, man.
All right.
Bye.
Good stuff. Shout out, Mark. Mark in the chat. Good stuff. Yeah, listen, listen, y'all. People be mad at me about the prenup thing. I don't care what you do. Do what you want to do. Do you? Do you? That's it. I don't. Joel who? Who Joel? Joel ain't nobody special. Do you? I don't care. I'm just worried about me and my life. I'm wrong sometimes, quote unquote wrong. Meaning that I'm just doing what I believe to be true. I make mistakes. I make mistakes oftentimes on air with y'all. So that's the whole point. That's the whole message. Think for yourself and know for yourself so you don't have to be mad at somebody else for having their opinion. You know? And do what you think is best for your life. And you learn if it works or it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Joel who? Good call by Aaron though. Amazing stuff. Lastly, oh shoot, let me check these super chats before I forget. Cause I think I may have missed some last week and I want to make sure I don't miss those. We got, what's today? Aaron said, just finished watching all The Chosen. What do you think of how they portrayed Jesus' relationship with his mama? It looked like they made him kind of a mama's boy to me. This is Aaron's super chat from the other day. I believe it was on Thursday. And that's a good point, Aaron. I don't know if you guys seen The Chosen. It's a biblical series on Prime Video, I believe. And they displayed the life of Jesus before he was, taken up. And I think they did a great job. Of course, in the details, some things might seem a little bit off or emotional or catering to society, but I think they did just the right amount of not overselling the catering, right? Because, they did have a little scene in there where Jesus was like, crying with his mom, and like Mary was like, if not now, then when? And then Jesus listened to his mom when he said, go heal, right? And I guess that can come off as like, when they make it emotional and stuff, it can come off as being like beta. So I do think that the directors kind of put stuff in there to be more relatable, or maybe they're misunderstand how, what strength may be all the way or whatever. But I think overall they did a great job. So to answer your question, Aaron, yeah, maybe in those details were kind of weird. There are some details like the last part of the Chosen. Jesus had a whip. Listen, when I tell you guys, I watched Jesus in the theaters. Listen, when you see Jesus in the theaters with a whip, it's a whole different type of ball, flipping tables. It's a whole different type of stuff. I saw Jesus in the theaters. He was flipping tables. He was whipping the air. Women and children were running, scattering, screaming. I was like, this is Jesus? And to Aaron's point, like there's some things that kind of was like, I don't know if he was doing all this. Children hollering, women falling over, flipping the tables, and men are going with the tables in the air, tables flipping. I like, listen, Jesus crashing out right now. But, maybe that's true. I ain't reading the Bible, he had a whip, but the point is still the point. He was trying to make a statement. So I think we can learn how to, take the good with the good and throw out the bad. You know what I mean? Look at the bigger picture and not get hung up too much on the details. I love The Chosen. I think it's a well done show. I highly suggest people watch it. But we're in 2025. What do you expect? Well, right on, Aaron. I appreciate it. You stole my joke. I'm allowed to steal your joke, Lucy. It's my joke, too. Your joke is my joke, girl. Let me check. One more thing. Buy me a coffee, and then I got some calls to get back to. Let me get to the calls, actually. I'll come back to that. I think I got the ones from all together. Let me go to JC out of Little Rock. JC, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello, Joel. How are you doing?
All is well, JC. How are you?
Good. Are you able to hear me okay? It seems like my phone.
I can hear you clear. I can hear you clear.
It was a super chat that I sort of wanted to respond to, that Eric guy, because he had mentioned something about me, but you don't have to read it if you don't want to. But I will say, my main question is, you was mentioning like your identity and stuff. So I was going to ask you, who is Joel Friday now?
Myself.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you'll say things like, I am a nobody, calling yourself a nobody and stuff. And I think
man, that's so good. That's a good one.
What?
Is that you realize that you're nobody special, that me and everybody, but I'll speak for me, is that you're not good. You're no good, right? And it's not like but listen, no, it's like, I'm no good, but I'm not bad either. I'm not evil, but I'm also not good, meaning that I make mistakes out of ignorance. I make mistakes out of blindness that can be evil. Maybe it can affect people. Maybe it can hurt people, right? And that's what makes me no good, is that I'm a flawed person, right? So when I look at myself as nothing it's me acknowledging, it's me humbling myself, and it's me taking accountability that I'm not special. And
It's you
what that
disrespecting
does,
yourself.
but what that does is
Joel,
keeps my ego in check. And I think that all
Joel,
people should do that.
no, it's disrespecting yourself and it's disrespecting God because you're one of God's creation. God specifically took time to create you, to put
Yeah.
you on this earth. And that's disrespectful and a slap in the face to Christ to say that you're nothing, that you're nobody.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
That's
well, well,
I'm
in
going to call
when,
you
but
out.
let me tell you, but in that weakness, because you're right though, you're right about that part of it. In that weakness, in acknowledging that you're nothing, is when God can work on your behalf. Is when God actually is strong in your weakness, because you're getting out the way so He can take over and use you, right? So
But you're saying you're a nobody.
though I'm nothing, is when you're nothing is when you're everything, because God
All
can
right.
get involved. Did that make
That
sense?
that's
Oh,
no. And I feel like you agree with me when I say you're disrespecting the Lord by saying you're a
but what
nobody.
about when I tell you that you're also everything?
When God is everything.
Right,
God is everything.
right. So,
We,
but
we
what are you
that's the
then?
thing.
If God is everything, then what are human beings?
We are His children. We are His creation. But it's disrespectful for us to say that we're nothing, that we're nobodies. We're not as
Yeah,
great as
we
the
are not.
Lord and
We're
stuff.
nothing special. We're nothing special.
Yes, we are. If you are a creation of the Lord and stuff, you are. And I know that sounds contradictory with some of the things that I say when I tell people I want them to burn in hell.
Yeah,
But they are evil people and stuff. There's still
yeah.
something. There's
Well,
still something.
I guess it's a
It's not
matter of
nobody.
right. I guess it's a matter of words, because I'm not saying that you're worthless. I'm not saying that, and I know you're
But you
interpreting that
are
way.
now.
That's how you're
You literally
interpreting it.
are. When you're saying you're nothing, when you're saying you're nobody, that's disrespecting yourself. That's calling you worthless.
No,
That's
that's how you
disrespecting the
perceive. That's how
creation
you're
of God.
perceiving it. But when you think that you're special, when you think, and what I mean by that is when you overthink that you are somebody so great and all that stuff. For one, you set an expectation for yourself, right? You set a standard like, I gotta be good, I gotta be great, and then when you're not that, you judge yourself and beat yourself up about it. You should just be what you are, where you are, right? Let that
Would
be,
you
and
tell
just
those
know,
children?
and just know that um, God has made you in His image, and you are capable of being all these things, right? But without Him, without God, we're just empty spirit, right?
But that's
We're
not what you
nothing.
were saying at first. It's more or less like you're saying that now, but you wasn't saying that. You
Yeah,
were
we're
saying you
empty.
were nothing. You were saying you were
Yeah, empty
nobody.
spirit is, I didn't say nobody. You said nobody. I said empty spirit is nothing. There's nothingness. But here's the thing, JC, this is what I realized too, is that when people are, because I had a conversation with some family members about this specifically, and they were talking about how, like, you got to use your words carefully. And I understand that to some degree, you got to use, just be wise in the words that you use. But all in all, is that a person who is seeking, who wants the truth, is gonna hear what they need to hear and run with it. The ones who want to lay a trap, the ones who want to catch you up, the ones who just want to have something to complain about are gonna pick apart your arguments and turn them into something negative. So if that's what you want to do, JC, then that's up to you. But that's not what I'm saying. And I think the people who know what I'm saying, they get it. And that's all that matters to me.
As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Proverbs 27:17.
Fair, fair enough. But I wanted to ask you really quick.
Yes, sir.
Who are you, JC?
I am JC. I am a Christ follower with the fiery spirit sometimes. I sometimes am a little bit quicker to anger than I wish to be. I'm a little bit more emotional. I love my identity of being a black gay Christian man, a liberal. I love singing. I love encouraging. I love uplifting. And I also love having stimulating conversations, even when I don't always agree with my conversationalist. I'm a child of God first and foremost, and I'm somebody that's proud of being a child of God. That's who JC is. JC from Little Rock, Arkansas is.
Fair enough. That's your opinion. My second question is, why are you gay? Nah, I'm playing.
You don't want to know those answers. Even though this might be a dull thing, you don't want to know those answers. We'll stick to the Christian
playing. Have you ever seen that video?
Say Oscar Myers. I love the Oscar Mayer Wiener song.
Have you seen the But have you seen the video that I'm talking about?
I've heard it in the chat too many times.
Okay.
It's ever entertaining, but no, don't ask that question, Joel.
Don't really answer it. Don't really answer it.
Right. I would not give the answer. Not on this one. No.
Well, I appreciate the call, JC. Thanks for calling, and good talk, man.
Bye-bye. Have a good week.
All right, you as well. Before I end, I just want to make a little commentary on words. I was talking with some family members, and we got into a big discussion on words. And like certain words can lay a trap for people. And I believe that to be true in parts. I believe that if you say certain things, it can make people stumble with your words. So we got to be wise in the words that we use. I believe that to be true. But I think that what is more important is where the message is coming from, right? Is it coming from love? Is it coming from ego, right? And I'm guilty sometimes. It may be coming from ego. I ain't gonna lie about it. But I think what is more important is you make sure you learn how to make sure your message is coming from love. If it's coming from love, that's what people feel, right? They're not getting hung up too much on the words, right? Because words mean different things to different people. I could say obey to one person and they're like, yeah, I understand that. But I could say obey to another person and they're thinking I'm calling them a dog, right? So words to me on a mass scale aren't important. What matters is where it's coming from, right? Are you of love when you're saying it? What's the spirit behind what you're saying? That is what people gravitate to. That is what people feel. That is what people hear, right? Their ears open up when they feel that you're coming from love. Anybody and everybody. Why? We're just designed that way. We just operate that way, right? It's like the passcode. You show them love, someone love, they'll tell you everything. So I can't sit here and stress myself out, or anybody should stress themselves out trying to figure out the perfect words to say. Because everybody has different triggers. Everybody has different things that affects them. And we don't know that. We don't know that stuff. We can't read people's minds. So all we can focus on, all that we can do is learn how to be of love and let the words flow from that, whatever those words may be. All right? So if my family members are listening, I mentioned that last night at our Easter conversation. But that's what I believe to be true. All right, y'all. I gotta end. I got like a couple minutes. I'm gonna get Rick in here. Rick, welcome to the show. You're on the air. I got a couple minutes, Rick.
What is going on, Joel? What's happening with you, man?
All is well, Rick. How are you?
Man, I'm fine, man. I know I got to get going, but be in the world, but not of the world.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems like so many struggle to stay in Christ, man. It seems like the world just has this attraction for money, wealth, and power, and people tend to gravitate to the world. You know, it's even like saying, like, if you have a non-believer kid and a Christian kid, do you think the Christian kid would bring the non-believer into the church, or that non-believer kid would take her out the church? I know it's not everybody, but from my experience, it seems like they always wind up taking the kids out the church, even
Wait.
when they go to college and stuff like that.
Who takes them out the church? I missed that part.
Like, oh yeah, it's like something like if an unsaved kid plays with a saved Christian kid, okay,
Yeah.
and she should kind of win him over to the church. But in most cases, the unsaved kid wound up taking her out the church.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
And why do you think
And
that is?
I know it's not. You know, I guess people feel like they're missing out. That's what I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
People
point.
like you know, they can feel like they're missing out and really ain't missing out. It's even like forced. I mean, do you believe in, like, another thing? Do you believe in, like, making your kids go to church when they underage?
That's a good question. I've never thought about that. I have to think about that one, Rick. What do you think?
I think, well, I asked Jesse one time. Jesse said he thinks it's wrong to force kids to go to church, but I'm thinking if you're underage and you're under my roof, I should show you the way and live the way in front of you.
Yeah.
But once you get 18, you know, because, you know, people are quick to say, oh, you never taught me that. If you know what I'm saying, that's the first thing they say, well, you never gave me the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, how people don't want to be accountable.
Yeah.
But
you know, that's interesting because I grew up going to the church not every Sunday, but I went here and there, and I never felt like it was forced or anything. Now maybe if it's like too religiously, too much, then maybe it can be a little bit of a burden on the child. Maybe. I guess it depends on each household, and how the parent goes about it. But when I went to church, I don't have any bad memories, or I don't ever feel like my mom forced me to go and all that stuff. So that's a good question. That's a good question, Rick.
you know, Jordan, I feel the same because I didn't have, even though when I went to church, and I know I didn't go all the time either, but I felt like it was the right thing to do. You know, I said, this is what we should be doing. You know, I never had no regrets. You know how people be saying, like, the number one reason people don't go to church is too many hypocrites. And I always tell them, you ain't want to go no way.
Yeah,
So,
a healthy
little,
a healthy little dose as a kid. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. You know, a healthy little dose of going to church here and there or whatever as a child. I mean, I don't think it can do any harm. So I don't see it as bad. Yeah, as long as they're not in like all week they're in the Bible study and you know, going crazy like that.
What do they go? And usually that comes from Jehovah's Witnesses. Man, when the kids get out, once they get out the Jehovah's Witnesses, man, they hate the church.
Exactly.
Man. I mean, they be some bitter, angry people once they come out the JW, the Watchtower, the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, they can chew nails.
Yeah, that's crazy
you
stuff.
Know, they be angry, man. You know, I mean, but I didn't feel that way about the church, and I never felt, and I just didn't let no one else's behavior make my decision about God.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Rick. But Rick, I'm not to cut you off. I'm just out of time.
Okay, Joel. Well, love you, man. Thanks for taking my call, man. Good work, man. I hope y'all had a good Easter weekend, and love you guys, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Appreciate it, Rick. I hope you did as well. Have a good one. All right, y'all. I got to end. American Anchor Baby's coming in right now. 5 minutes, and you got him. Make sure you guys tune in to American Anchor Baby on YouTube and on Rumble. If you still like Rumble, he's still there. But he's on YouTube now, so he'll be right after me right now. Tune in. Also, check out Punchy TV. Brand new episode today at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Featuring myself and American Anchor Baby and James Hake. Make sure you guys check that out. Brand new episode. Nick said some stuff that I had to bleep out. But you can catch it full episode. All right, y'all. I got to end. Till next time, I'll see you. All right. Bye.